Oh my God. What is up, everybody? This is Justin Silver sitting across the long table from the hilarious, lovely, talented, tattooed angel, Natalie Cuomo. What's up, Nats?
Hi, Justin.
Thank you for picking me up and driving through Manhattan hell traffic to get to the studio. We are doing a Help Neurotica mashup, I guess. We were just like, dude, we have fun on podcasts together. Let's do one.
Yes, it's a mashed potato mashup.
We were like, we should start a new podcast called Fuckable Feely People. Not
so good.
Not meaning like they have to be hot, but people who are like, you know, DTF looking for significant others and a little fakakta in the head as we are, which would be a funny podcast idea. So I was just like,
fuckable feely people.
Fuckable feely people. So
it rolls off the tongue.
It rolled off the tongue. It just came up in conversation. Let me tell you, New York City, how do you not have nonstop anxiety?
It is the most anxiety-inducing place in the entire world.
Trying to like little things, just the traffic getting around. It's like, it's just like moot at this point. It's like, oh, you're talking about New York City traffic, but it's like the little things. There's like, you can't make a left here, can't make a right there, can't make a left there. We have to get somewhere. You give yourself an hour to get the equivalent of half a mile. 3 places can't park. Try to go to 7-Eleven, grab a nice coffee. Oh, we have no ice. We have no straws. There's this guy. Some guy's fucking making cat food.
That was crazy what he was doing.
Some guy's making fucking eating cat food on the coffee counter thing out of a styrofoam that he's eating and pouring pepper in it
with
and, like,
chopsticks.
It's just like it fucking gets to me. And you know what? I gotta say this. We do have some interesting things to talk about. I want to talk about this. How I noticed a lot, like my irritability with New York City and how shitty I can be and how like pointed I can be and just like I'm like how you react to shit affects you and then you feel like shit at the end of the day. I'm like, I have to try to extend some kindness and be nicer to people because it makes me feel like shit at the end of the day. But I want to talk to you about that. Justin Bieber, dude. Let's start with this because we both saw that thing and it got us in this conversation. And I was like,
so Justin Bieber.
That was a weird transition. I just went.
That was
Justin
a
Bieber.
crazy transition, Justin Bieber.
You sent me that video.
I sent him that video. I sent Justin the video of Justin Bieber at like 1 a.m.
Well, I was telling you the thing about the documentary "What Is a Woman," which is like controversial for all these different reasons, and I had thoughts and opinions on it. But it's like, you know, it's so difficult to talk about anything in the transgender space because everybody's so fucking defensive on both sides. You can't even say like a documentary is interesting and eye-opening, and you're like, oh, I had thoughts that like, you know, reflected positively on some people's side, negative. Like I had opinions on this that were not just were not very one-sided. I felt like, you know, that there was validity on both angles of this. But so I wanted to talk about that, and then you sent me the Justin Bieber thing, and I was like, shit, dude, that he's going through. He looks like the fucking Terminator.
I was like,
well, that one eye, they're moving independently of the other because one of his eyes is half of his face is paralyzed from an infection that's like in his ear or in that region.
What happened was half of his face is paralyzed and he had to cancel a bunch of his shows. He can't even blink on one side.
Yeah, he's having trouble eating.
It must be terrible. And, you know, I think it's interesting the way that it seems that people have extended a lot of love to Justin Bieber now that he's come out with an illness. And it kind of, to me, it showed me the way that people have hate towards people just because they have success and their life seems perfect.
Of course.
And the moment something's wrong, they're like, oh, I love you now.
Or the moment something's wrong, they're kind of like, yeah, fuck it. Like, I get, like, you're like, what an unsympathetic character. You're like, okay, you got famous and bought a plane, like, you know, just out of diapers.
Right.
And people want a lifestyle like that. And so it's easy, and so he's very easy to criticize, especially when he went through like the normal trials and tribulations that any young adult or any teenager, young adult would. And then you're doing it with all this money and all this access. So it's like And now it's like, and especially in the culture now, where it's like, God forbid anybody like farts in the wrong direction. It's like, let's crucify them. But and this is why I was like, this is interesting because like Justin Bieber's not someone that I give two shits about, right? Yeah. There's actually like one Justin Bieber song that I work out to. It's a Skrillex mix, but it's like I remember when I had that TV show, the dog training show, and I remember just like genuinely trying to do a good job, represent myself as good as possible, being under a lot of pressure. And I'm certainly not comparing myself to Justin Bieber's lifestyle. Being under a tremendous amount of pressure and the amount of hate and criticism that was coming my way strictly from haters who you could tell were so specifically looking to dissect every single thing that I did. Mm-hmm. And I realized how much and often I had done that previously, even if it's like I never went online and like I would never take the time to go online and like trash somebody and like create a website debunking their theory. I would never do that. But even in my own conversations with people, like, fuck it, you know what I mean? And I was just like, I remember how that felt. And I was like, shit, I don't ever want to do that to anybody that I don't genuinely hate for a valid reason. Like they fucked me over personally. Like, do you remember when you first got into the public eye, and we're not in, we're certainly not on a level, we're not like A-list celebrities here, but you put yourself out for criticism, and then it's just like when the thrashings start, like it fucking, you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. It hurts. Like it's very painful. And I feel like the thing people don't understand what it feels like to just all of a sudden get bombarded with negativity online.
Yeah.
Like it's very difficult. It's something that I've talked about a lot. But the thing that's very weird to me is that, even before I was in the public eye in any way, and like obviously it doesn't compare to like a major celebrity.
Sure.
But I watch reality TV. I like reality TV. I like cooking shows. I have never ever commented negative things about, and like, listen, I don't like certain celebrities.
Sure.
I love RuPaul's Drag Race. There are certain queens I don't like. I would never comment something negative on one of their pages. I would never go in a Reddit thread and say something negative. So I just feel like the thing to me is that I don't understand not registering that these people are human.
Yeah, listen, at a certain point, you gain such a thick skin with it that I just like, who gives a shit?
I do feel that I've gotten to that
I just
point,
don't.
for sure.
I couldn't give a shit now, and it's like, in a way, it's almost like I look for it, and I'm like, it's funny. Like, no one's actual thing. Like, when I go on podcasts and I talk very intimately and openly, and I talk about, like, to me, I think I'm just absurd and ridiculous, like,
right.
And I have the human condition like everybody else does, right? And I just think that once you already say everything about yourself, like, who gives a shit? Like I could care less. Like I'll talk about the disgusting things I do, like and then I'm like, yeah, you're gonna get the droves of people that are like, and I'm like, I couldn't care less anymore. So it's like there's really nothing people like. It doesn't really have that much of an effect on me anymore. I remember when it first did. I remember how it first did.
What bothers me now, I think I'm at the stage of that now, that what bothers me more than people shitting on me online is people that get sensitive about someone saying something tiny, because I'm like, oh, you think you're offended that they said this tiny thing? You should see what I've gone through. I feel like that's the stage that I'm at, because I feel like now I'm fine. I've accepted. Yeah, I get a lot of shit online. It's fine. And it can roll off my shoulders, like whatever. I deal with it on a daily basis. I've dealt with it for years at this point. But now, like if I was watching someone's Instagram story and they're a comic and they shared something someone insulted them about as if it was like this horrible thing, and I'm sitting there going, that's what you've had to deal with? Fuck you.
Oh,
like, that's the point I'm in, and I want to get to the point where I'm like, whatever.
Oh, that I'm at the point of whatever. It's like, and it's a freeing thing, because you're just like nothing. I'm just like, anybody who's sitting there in like a comment box, I'm just like, you've got time.
Yeah.
To give a shit. I'm like, okay, that's fine. I'm not, I think
that attracted, like, I don't mean to sound like a total asshole, but I do feel that like more conventionally attractive people deal with maybe more hateful comments, because there are more people that want to shut them down, and especially from that like place behind the screen.
Yeah, and there's attractive in different ways. There's attractive like people who have attractive lifestyles, people who have attractive bank accounts, people who have attractive faces or bodies. There's like, people like, it's easy to be like, people, human beings run around with envy and self-hatred, me and you included.
Right.
Looking outside of themselves at what other people have and being like, shit, why don't I have that? And some people don't have the ability, focus, wherewithal, self-awareness to be like, wait a second, there's something lacking in me and something I could do that I'd rather be doing. So instead what they're doing is they're kicking the poster that they see.
Yeah.
Duh. I had this thing, there's this joke I love where I put, I'm trashing this woman, and it was all funny. Like, she was having, whenever I do, like, crowd work, it's like, if I'm trashing somebody, it's never to insult them. It's like, I'm having fun with them. That's how you show affection.
Of course.
You know what I mean? It's like, you trash each other. So I was performing at Governors, and I have this set where this Italian woman's like, she's screaming really loud, and like, she's like, I'm Italian. And I'm like, I know you're Italian. But this poor gentleman came out to hear someone else's voice, and it's me making fun of her and her husband, and she's having a blast with it. And had all these hits on, and I was like, oh, I'll just put this little 38-second clip up on YouTube. And then I looked, and it was like comment. I never look at these. I just happened to go on because I had to post something else, and I had like all these comments. Out of 100 comments, about 80 of them are an argument going back and forth between these two people. One who makes a comment is like, oh, how come the Italians always have to identify themselves? The other person going like, well, maybe they're proud of their heritage. And it just gets into this serious thing. And I'm just like, holy shit, man. Just two people who don't know each other. I'm like, you took more time going back and forth at each other than it actually took me to like write whatever joke, record it, and post it. I was just like,
go outside.
People are fucking insane
I agree.
on the internet, and that's in the and it kind of it devalidates anything anybody says to you anyway, because you're like, yeah, this is like the lunacy that we live in. But I kind of like, I remember like, but when I saw that, I was like, that's got to be fucking tough for that dude, man. That looks like, man, with my ankle broken and when I had the shit that was going on with my eye, physical ailments, like, they shake your fucking foundation.
Yeah.
Forget about like the normal mental stuff that we all walk around with, career shit. It's like when you have like physical shit.
Well, two things that it makes me think of. Number one, he doesn't know when it's going to be okay, or if, I mean, he says it is. Okay. He doesn't know if it is. Like, of course he has to say to his fans, yeah, this is going to be better, but he doesn't know if or when, and that's pretty terrifying for anyone, but especially someone whose career is singing and being in the public eye. And number two, I just saw like you broke your leg. I saw you like deal with this in this like really amazing way. First of all,
no.
I know that you don't. I know that you don't think so. But first of all, the thing that you didn't do that was amazing is you walked on it for 8 days after.
Yeah, that was just stupid.
That was stupid.
I didn't know.
Oh, it's nothing.
No, I didn't think it was nothing. I didn't think it was nothing. But I'll let you finish your point so I don't interrupt you.
So
I'll let you give me a compliment.
Yeah. Let me compliment you. So was it your leg or your foot?
It's my ankle in 3 places.
All right.
I broke my ankle in 3 places.
Justin broke his ankle in 3 places. I feel that you did a very good job of, though you were in a dark place, you continued to, and the things that you love, right, are working out, being around dogs, and comedy, which are all very mobile things. So you did an incredible job, and so it's very heartbreaking to break your ankle, and you did a very good job of saying, you know what, I'm going to use my upper body and work out. I'm going to do these comedy shows. And like, I feel like it was very inspiring to see that you push yourself and take care of yourself, even though it wasn't necessarily fun for you to force yourself to do that. But you were forcing yourself to go on stage with the cast. Yeah. You were going to the gym with the cast, probably pushing yourself a little too hard. Like,
that's true.
Do you want to speak about what that experience was like for you?
So here's the thing. So I don't want to dramatize a broken ankle for people like, okay, people, it's like that Bill Burr joke is like, I never knew how many mattresses. I never knew I needed a mattress. I never knew how many mattress commercials there were until I needed a mattress. And now they're everywhere. It's like, now I see people in casts and broken ankles all over the place. And like I had friends who were just like, it's a broken ankle, chill the fuck out. I'm like, and I get that 100%. But the thing, like my mental illness, which I get, the second I have a hard time slowing down, just sitting still, if there's not a lot of things that I'm aiming towards and things to do, right? Mm-hmm. The vanity aspect of like physical fitness is like, yes, it presents that way, but like that's not why I go to the gym the way I go. That's not why I do that. It's like I need that physical outlet and I need physical challenges. Dog stuff, which I need to survive, is completely mobile and on my feet. Brutus, getting him up in the morning and getting out with him is like, it's like that mental health
Brutus
walking.
Is your dog.
Brutus is my dog. It's like having him around, how necessary he is to my lifestyle in terms of like caring about something else, having to wake up in the morning and be accountable. He was gone, so that was really rough. So, and it was like, and I was just sitting there. I was just fucking sitting there, and I was just like, I've never been in my head more. I'd never been darker and more depressed. I was drinking an insane amount because I was just like, and going to the gym when I could. And the interesting thing is, people were saying to me, they were like, I saw people recently. They're like, dude, I watched you like hot, like on the knee scooter coming all the way over here in the rain. And it was like inspiring to me. And in my mind, I was like, like take that in a little bit, Justin. So I was like, thank you so much. I'm glad that inspired you. But I was doing it to not go fucking crazy. And I just like the normal internal spinning out that I do anyway in terms of like, where's career going? Where's life going? Do I have a relationship? Am I going to buy out? Like all these sort of things. Getting up and going and doing something. Like today, I'm fucking exhausted. I didn't sleep that much. You and I have to do this thing. So I'm like, cool. Hanging out with Natalie, talking, but like this, I'm waking up again. You know what I mean? Like this makes me feel present.
Fuckable, feely people.
Fuckable, feely people. So like, I just felt like I was just like circling a drain, and it fucking hurt. It was like, they had to reconstruct my whole ankle, put a bunch of metal in there, and I had such empathy. And this is why I'm saying, like, I have such empathy for people who have disabilities. And I talked to a few friends of mine who were like athletes and broke ankles and the depression they go through, and then people who have like, more long-term disabilities. I never thought before about how it's like, wait, if your leg is not mobile, your hands have to be occupied by whatever thing is moving you around. And I have like stairs in my apartment. So I'm like, shit. Every time I want a glass, so like I had to plan everything out around the day. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna need water in that room later. So I called friends. I'm like, can you bring fill these water bottles, put them in that room? Like everything is so accounted for. And then when the cast finally came off, I was just so appreciative to have Brutus back, to be able to walk around in the sunshine. It just made me so fucking grateful for being able-bodied. You know what I mean? It was just like, it was like really dark, and that was a difficult thing to deal with. And I talked to like friends of mine who are athletes who got injured, and they go, yeah, there's like a legitimate depression for it. Again, I'm not trying to dramatize it and be like, I did not lose a leg. You know what I mean? Like I'm still rehabbing it, and it hurts a lot, and I can only walk so much. But it was like, something like that extreme, like three breaks in your ankle fucking changes your life in a second. Well, so it was dark. I got really dark and upset.
I think the distinction to make for anyone listening is that that is your career. Like all of those things are your financial income.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I didn't work for 3 months.
Most people, they have an ailment like that, like they break their leg, the people that you notice everywhere. Most people do work in office jobs or something like that. So yes, it is, it is a deterrent in a lot of ways, but they're not.
They can still do certain
performing
things.
On stage. They're not like training dogs, which is a very physical, active job.
Yeah, it is physically active, and I was doing I was doing the best I could. It was interesting. Like at the same time, my ex-girlfriend Amber, and she's got a really great TikTok account.
Amber Heard?
No, but she Amber Cather, who was a model and an actor. And really funny, who lives with her husband and her kids in Georgia now.
Johnny?
No.
Okay.
I think it's Amber Cather is her TikTok. But she does these Amber Heard impressions. She was doing the whole trial. Dude, while she had breast cancer where she went through rounds of chemo, double mastectomy, uterus taken out, and her fucking attitude about it, like we would call and joke about this shit. You know what I mean? Like she did these funny things on TikTok. It was like to that James Blunt song. I've been addicted to you. Goodbye, my lover. Goodbye, my friend. And it was like farewell to the best boobs in the world, right? Because she had her breasts removed.
Right.
And she had this like, and like I was talking to her while I was like, I'm not complaining to you about my broken ankle while you're going through this, but her fucking attitude about this whole thing. Like she was like a La Perla runway model, right? Mm-hmm. Moved to New York, and I loved her. She was my favorite girlfriend, right?
I hope the other ones aren't listening.
It doesn't matter if they are. They all know this. My favorite girlfriend.
Do they?
Yeah, Amber was like,
you should start all relationships, just so you know. Amber was my favorite girlfriend, so.
My favorite, no, she was. I mean, someone could beat her out at some point, but like.
Good luck, bitch.
And like, she got married, had kids, and she went through this like whole body dysmorphic thing where it's like she had trouble with her thyroid. She would gain like lots and lots of weight. Like she would gain upwards of 40 pounds and then have to lose it, and all the pressure of like, that world. And then she became like plus size, and then she started putting out these books, these photography books of like with like self-acceptance, where she would write all the internal words. Like she would just be sitting there, like the way her body looked, like let her fat rolls kind of roll over. She's still beautiful, but like, she'd write fat, ugly, and like kind of written on herself, and then put those out, and then sold those books. And then the money went to charity for people that have, body image issues. And then she started working like behind the camera doing photography. And then she like went through this like transformation where she went through this like level of self-acceptance that is like real internal self-love and self-acceptance that really wasn't based on anything external, in a way that I hadn't seen many people do ever. You know what I mean? And I'm no spring chicken. And then watching her go through this process and just like, talking about, yeah, my boobs are being removed. Yeah, my uterus is being taken out. Yeah, I'm losing all my hair. Yeah, I'm bloated and swollen. I have to go through rounds of chemo, but like I'm alive. And like, I just watched her go through this, and I was like, it just like, there were so many nights that we just like, I sat up on the phone with her, and I was just like, my affinity and love for her as a human being, not in a romantic way anymore, because I know her husband, I know her family well, but I was just like, holy shit, man. Like she moved me. And she's really fucking funny. Like she didn't feel bad for herself. Even the stuff she put out about like chemo, like she had some honest stuff. Like let me tell you what her TikTok is, because
your flashlight is on, sir.
My flashlight is
Sir
on?
Spring Chicken.
I'll tell you what her TikTok is, because it was actually.
It reminds me, we're talking about gratitude. We're talking about comparing ourselves to other people and self-acceptance. It makes me think a lot about, we were talking about social media in the car. And we're talking about how, social media is, I read this in an article.
The devil?
Social media
it's not.
is comparing everyone's highlight reel to your blooper reel, right?
That's such a great way to say it.
So, I think I'm curious, because I think kind of taking a step back from looking at social media that way and kind of is probably an important step into being able to feel gratitude or to access that kind of like self-love or self-acceptance
and
that
I am
like
listening
Amber
to you. I'm
is
looking for her thing as you're talking, so don't think I'm not listening to you. Go ahead.
That kind of self-acceptance that like Amber was able to access or present. And what's her TikTok?
It's Amber Cather Photo, and she's legitimately like a great actor. So when she does these like Johnny Depp Amber Heard impressions, she gets all the mannerisms down right, and like it's like you'll see these posts about this, like just about like dealing with the ailments and dealing with the illness and how she went through it, and you'll see the sort of grace in which she does it. Continue with what you're saying, comparing your highlight reel to comparing their highlight reel to your blooper reel. Yes.
I mean, what do you feel about that? Do you feel like social media has played a role in the way that you view yourself at all?
Here, it's a double-edged sword for us, for me. Sorry, you asked me personally. It's a double-edged sword for me because we work in it. Mm-hmm. Okay? And when there's things about this career that I don't want to do. There's things that are difficult.
Yeah.
There's a joy in writing content, presenting that content to audiences, recording that content, the process of editing it, putting the clips up, people responding to it. It's like there's the fact that it actually is it's a channel, it's a forum, it's a place to express your art and share with people. At the same time, I'm 100% susceptible to the dopamine loop that we all are, where you're like, how well did this one do? How well did this one not do? You know what I mean? The cool thing about it is, like, even though it's a little bit removed from your immediate, it's not like a lot of people just like, they're like, okay, here's what I'm having for lunch today. I do that too. But it's like, for me, I'm looking at it from a more professional perspective, which almost sort of heightens the stakes. But at the same time, it's really difficult you're always measuring yourself, like, where you are in this pack. Especially because, like, when you're in entertainment, it's like, especially in comedy, it becomes a niche within a niche within a niche. You're like, oh, this person's doing this. And it's like, comics were all famous for that. And I want to always support other people, so I see their stuff. But at the same time, I'm kind of like, of course I hit that fucking compare and despair thing. And that's not good for me. And I think, and so many of us don't, like, they're like, I don't run my social media, or I don't look at it, or like, I don't, like, the reason it took me so long to find her shit is because I don't keep that app on my phone. Like, I reload it every time I load it, and then I'll take it off, or it's on my other phone. Like, so many comics we know have, like,
he has 2 phones.
I have 2 phones. So many it's the hoe phone. So many comics we know have boundaries and limits around that thing, but it's difficult. It's difficult. Like, I envy people who, like, their lives are simpler, and they're not. They don't care about that kind of shit. We don't have the luxury of not being able to do that. I mean, I don't want to say luxury. It's like we're being like, we make a choice.
I do feel,
and that's a difficult. It's difficult. Yeah, your brain is not designed to be like, it's like when people follow their exes and shit like that.
No, you
and then
can't.
they check in on what they do. It's like, you used to have to fucking rent a tinted car and, like, and binoculars to do this. Like, that's not healthy.
I will say, like, the one ex who I can't find on social media, or I don't think has social media, I think the most fondly of. And I don't know if I think that's honestly because I can just imagine, like, whatever the fuck he's doing, because I just have my brain to be like, oh yeah, that was a nice time we had together.
Yeah.
I don't have social media to go look at what he's doing and be like, this motherfucker with his new girlfriend.
Dude, I have that joke about it. I'm like, I posted it. I was like, I posted a picture of myself the other day wearing a tuxedo holding a soccer trophy I won when I was 7. I was like, you lost a real winner here. Because, it's a joke on, like, how I would feed into it, which I don't actually do.
Right.
Like, I have strong boundaries and discipline about that, just because I know where that would take me.
Mm-hmm.
So I think, but when it comes to, like, I listen to Jordan Peterson talk about it also. Like, it's very similar to the way you just said it. Like, the way you said it was beautiful. You compare their highlight reel to your blooper reel.
Mm-hmm.
The way, I'm trying to think about how Jordan Peterson said it, but he goes, like, you're always gonna come up short when you're sort of emotionally bask in the glow of what you think they're doing, because you don't know what's going on with other people.
You have no idea
what's going on in their life.
This is actually such a good point, and I really, Justin, I just want to, like, reiterate this for myself and for everyone else. You don't know what the fuck, like,
you don't.
The thing that I had lunch with someone yesterday, and they were like, Natalie, what are you actually like? Like, what is actually going on in your life? And I am so open in my Twitch, in my podcast, in my stand-up, that, everyone thinks that they actually know me very, 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 very well.
Yeah.
But, there's actually a lot of shit going on in everyone's life that you don't know.
You don't know. And the way
and, like, you do know me very well, but also you don't know a lot of other shit about anyone. Like, you don't ever see the full picture.
100%. And it's like, listen, think how long it takes to get to know somebody when you're dating them. You're like, oh, the first 6 months are like this fucking honeymoon. Charles Bukowski says, the first 6 months of a relationship are the best. Then the unraveling starts, never to end.
And if you don't get along in the first 6 months, see ya, bitch, because things are not going to be good.
No, they're not. The way Jordan Peterson said it, he said he's in his book, and people like him or don't like him. It's like, he's like, compare yourself to who you were yesterday rather than who somebody else is today. You don't know all the idiosyncrasies of those people's lives. Everybody's life gets so idiosyncratic and specific at a certain point that it's like, you don't. At a certain age, like, there's nobody else really like you. And when you look at the things that certain people have, like, I know, like, I was just hanging out with this woman earlier who I was working with, and she's, she lives in this, who knows how many millions this house is, right? 2 kids. She's beautiful. She's got all these dogs, right? And she's searching for meaning, like trying to start some dog shelter, some rescue. I think she's incredibly intelligent, married well, had kids. It's like, and I meet so many people like on the outside, like, oh, this is a perfect life. But it's like at the same time, you don't know what their personal struggles are, what their goals are, what the things they had to sacrifice are. You know what I mean? It always seemed, it's almost like when you look out into the distance on a horizon, right? If you look at New York City, you look down an avenue, right? You see, as you start to see the buildings lined up in the distance, you're like, oh, it looks so quiet and it looks so perfect over there.
Mm-hmm.
It looks simpler over there. And then as you get closer, you start to see the spaces in between them that you don't see from the distance.
Yeah.
And what happens is when people arrive at certain places in their life, and this has happened to me, the same problems and the same load and stress and struggles and new ones that you don't ever anticipate when you're looking at them from the distance are present there. And that doesn't mean that like certain things make your life better when you achieve those things, right? Of course, certain financial successes when you've come from less than you need are going to make your life better.
Right.
Intimate relationships that you were then open to are going to make your life better, right? But you don't understand, like there's also, those things also come with sacrifices that aren't present in the immediate that we're talking about. And I always have to remind myself about that like the grass always seems greener. I was talking to H. Foley, I think I was talking to, and Kevin. They have a great podcast. They have Are You Garbage, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we were talking about it. I was like, and I was talking to them about their travel schedule. And I'm looking, and they're like doing clubs and they're selling out nights. And they're like, and they were telling me about their travel schedule, when they're trying to fill the room on Tuesdays, how much money they're making, that like they had to go, they land in a city, do the show there. And he just looked at me, he goes, I was like, Jesus, I was like, is this what I want? And of course they want it. He wasn't saying in a way where he's like, you know, he wasn't poo-pooing it. He's like, but it's like, you're like, oh, there's somebody with a successful podcast that is fucking crushing it right now. They're making great money and all that. But like, but it is a lot. It is physically, it is a lot on them. Physically, it is a lot on them. And like, you know, to the point where they're kind of like, this isn't, the point was, it's like, this isn't what we thought it was. Not that we would trade it and it doesn't have great aspects to it, but it's not what we thought
Nothing
it was.
Nothing is ever what you think it's going to be.
It's not. And I have to remind myself about that because I remember when I was like, you know, when I seemingly had the most success that I had, I was like, shit, man. I was like, I kind of missed going back
Just
and doing
chilling.
this not on TV. You know what I mean? So yeah. So but here's the issue with it is like, yeah, I have that wisdom to say it here with you right now on like a podcast, which is like helpful to hear myself say it because of how much I actually struggle with it in reality.
Right.
And while I was sitting there with that broken leg, Natalie, like I was like, these are the, like, that's why I was drinking like a fish, because I was like, I was trying to anesthetize. And I quit drinking since then, which feels great.
That's awesome.
I think it's been about a month.
It's so weird. I just can't, I don't find pleasure in drinking, but I think that's just my body.
I didn't either.
Yeah.
I was just finding escape in it.
Yeah.
I was just looking, I was just like, this is too, you know, just sit here and relax and try to calm down. It's like, well, that's all you're doing all day because you can't walk.
Right.
You know what I mean? That's that thing.
You know,
go ahead.
I am shifting gears here, but since it is a Neurotica Help matchup, I do want to ask your advice with one thing.
Oh, shit. Yay.
So, you know.
By the way, I think I have a tumor in my mouth.
You don't have a tumor in your mouth.
From vaping. This is what I have to quit.
If,
I hate it.
There was
I hate it, and I'm saying it on a podcast. What?
If there's a tumor, there'd be a lump that you would feel.
No, here's what I have. I have this thing in my mouth. I've always had it since I was 20. Some people have these, like, their bone spurs out on the inside of their gum. It's like a total normal thing, but I'm convinced that it's a tumor now, even though I know it's like
classic.
I'm like, I've been making myself crazy. I've been like touching it. I'm like, it's been there since I was 20.
I have that with a bump.
And I went to the
knee.
dentist 2 months ago, and they were like, yeah, a lot of people have this. You have it too?
I have it with a bump on my knee.
Shit, maybe that's a vaping tumor.
It's from vaping.
Right, ask me advice. I don't know.
So Justin, I've grown my following. I feel good about it. But the thing is that I post stand-up clips. I post me talking. I post my video game stuff. My audience is, predominantly male.
Yeah.
And how do I get women to like me?
Well,
that's my
post
question.
Other stuff too, Natalie.
I don't, and I post pictures of myself too.
Sure you do.
Sure.
And you're an attractive woman, and a lot of people are on there because they want to look at you.
I also have posted.
That's nothing. I'm not. That's not a criticism.
I've been posting a lot of personality stuff.
I know you do.
But say from this moment on, Justin, as a friend, how would I get women to like me?
Oh.
As someone that a lot of women like you.
Why do you think they don't like you? Yeah, but I'm a man. I do the equivalent of what you do, which is why we have a show together. Which, by the way, we have a great lineup on the next one. Now's the time to plug it. Let me just do it right now.
Go plug it.
Just hold the thought. Now's a good time to plug it. This is a tangent. We're a tangent. You have two OCD manic people on a podcast together in a room without a board saying what we should say next. We have a great show called Anxiety Attack at the Stand on July 7th at 8 p.m. You can get tickets on Natalie's website, on my website, or thestand.com. It's at I am Justin Silver on social media platforms and IamJustinSilver.com. Natalie's is
NatalieCuomo.com or thestandnyc.com.
Right. It is myself, Natalie, Big J. Ogerson, Mark Normand, Bonnie McFarlane, Chris Vega, and then we're going to add another one, but that is a fucking banging lineup, and it's always a party when we do
it.
That
is
show.
always
so
sold. It's always sold out.
So
the tickets go fast. Get your tickets. It's always sold out.
It's fucking fun.
It's always fire.
And then we party afterwards.
We do.
So I don't know. I think why do you think women don't like you?
It's not that women don't like me. I feel like after sets, women come up to me and they're like, those are the people coming up to me after my set saying, oh, your set spoke to me. I just don't know how, for some reason, via social media, I'm not speaking to women.
Are you sure?
Says the statistics on my phone.
What's the percentage?
It's like, I'll check right now.
I'll check mine.
Let's see.
Mine is mostly women, I think, because I have the dog stuff, and that's even when I train people, that's mostly women. Comedy wise, it's an even split. And then I don't know. I think
Oh my God,
mine's
Justin.
the same. What's the split?
Who's gonna go? You want me to go first?
I can't figure out how to find mine.
I have my followers on Instagram are 95.8% men.
Yeah, they want to look at you. That's
no,
fair.
That's not true.
Some of that is true. What's wrong with saying that?
Here's my question.
You're an attractive chick.
Here's the thing.
Right?
This is something that I was talking about yesterday. I think there are a lot of Instagram accounts with women who have the same aesthetic as me. Tattoos. They like
suicide girly types.
What?
Like suicide girly types.
Well, no, not suicide girl. Kind of like tattoos, plants, dogs. It's kind of like this. It's kind of like this hip aesthetic. I feel like I do have, like even gamery. I do have this aesthetic, and there are women that follow other women with this aesthetic. That's kind of like an inspo thing. But for some reason, I'm not falling in this category at all.
Why do you care so much?
Because I want to speak to women. I don't want to just speak to dudes. I'm a woman, and I want to connect to other women. That's important to me.
Let me think about this. I'm trying to think about how to advise
Listen,
you
I'm
here.
grateful for all the dudes that support me. Dudes, I love you guys. I love you guys.
When you're posting, are you thinking about men or women?
I'm not thinking. I love you guys. I'm very grateful for you, but and your support means the world to me.
No, are you like, oh, I know who's going to respond to this?
I do want women. I do want to connect to women as well. I do want to speak to women. Also, that's my experience. Is the female experience.
I don't listen.
You're saying it doesn't matter.
I'm not saying it doesn't matter if there's something specific where you're like, here's my message to women. I want women to hear this thing. I think if it's just sort of like, this is what I'm putting out into the world. Let's see who's responding to it. I think in one instance, if you're like, if you're doing it in some sort of self-reflective way, you're being like, and you look at that as like a liability. If you're like, what am I doing that is attracting male eyes, and this is not who I'm trying to reach.
For example, but
let me finish it. That's one thing.
Mm-hmm.
If the other thing is just like, no, you're putting content out for the world to take in, and you're just sort of like, as a curious acknowledgement, you're like, I wonder why more men or why women are looking at it, but I don't understand why it's an issue or not issue. When you go and you perform live, what's the audience?
It depends.
So it depends. So it's not a 90. So it's not a 90-10.
Some shows are 95-5.
Dudes to women.
Yeah, dude.
Okay. It also could be like the market you come up in and like who, what comedy, it could be.
I mean, to be fair, yeah, that some of the worlds that I have associated with are predominantly guys.
When you do podcasts that are like you and another woman,
Mm-hmm.
and you're talking about women's stuff,
Mm.
right? Which who even knows what that is anymore based on the documentary I saw, which no one can identify what that means anymore. I'm like, it's so interesting. But you're talking about like, you know, what you deem women's stuff. Do you notice a difference, or like, you know?
It's just, the thing is that like I want to connect with women. Like I'm grateful for I want to like have that in my life. I want female connections in my life.
I got that. You here you want me to talk to you to say the way I would say this if the cameras were not on?
Yeah.
Okay, here's what I think. Here's the truth.
Mm.
Right? I think that there are going to be women who are like, "Yo, that chick's hot. You go, girl." And she's funny. And she's kind of cool. And I don't give a fuck that like she's got bikini shots on there on a Harley.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Then there's going to be the chicks who are like, "Fuck this bitch for that."
Mm-hmm.
Then there's going to be the dudes who are kind of like, I don't think she's funny, but I just want to look at her.
Mm-hmm.
Then they're going to be the dudes who actually see you and take you in and be like, no, Natalie's like a cool chick and I think she's funny.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Okay.
You have to decipher, like, you know, what percentage of what is what. And at the end of the day, it kind of doesn't really matter. But it's like, that's sort of like, I don't think it's worth you thinking about that so much. I think a lot of chicks are going to be like, you know, the same way dudes are just like, yo, fuck this dude. Because I have like fitness shit up there. And I'm like, yeah, okay, I don't care. I don't give a shit.
You know what bothers me?
You know what I mean? The same. And then there's other dudes who are just like, no, Justin's like legitimately funny. Because like, you know, comedy is something like I put a lot of effort into.
I put everything into my comedy.
Right. So,
can I tell you what bothers me significantly?
Yeah, sure.
Rock stars, like male rock stars, they have it's all women dying over them. Like all male rock stars have giant female fan bases. No one is like, oh man, people just like your music because you're hot. Ever. No one ever fucking says that. No one says that to Julian Casablancas. No one says that to Nick Jonas, okay? No one's like, oh, people just like your music because you're fucking hot. Even though
you're delusional.
Even though their biggest fans are women.
You're delusional.
What do you mean I'm delusional?
Okay, first of all, you were not the comedic equivalent of a rock star.
Hang
on.
Equivalent.
Right. You're an up and coming comedian who's getting better. Wait.
Yeah, but I'm just saying male men in that position, no one is saying Justin just has fans because he's hot.
Justin Bieber?
We're
not, hang on. But this is where people do this thing where they have this sort of information bias and they don't really see things clearly, right? Okay. So if you think about it like this, when they make pop stars, right? Uh-huh. Because we're in pop culture, right? You're putting things out on social media. You're not sitting there on a corner with like, you know, a gramophone being like, hey, listen to my comedy album. You know what I mean? Like we're putting things out on social media that is pop culture.
Right.
When they're building like pop culture singers, you don't think their physical attractiveness is something that is Justin Bieber. How, like, you know what I mean? Like as good of a singer as he is like, you don't think there's better, like he's so attractive. So that's always a factor in that. So it's like, how many male followers you think, who we were just talking about, how many male followers, what do you think Justin Bieber's percentage is women to men?
But
that is so a factor.
But do you think Justin Bieber is sitting there and the people he worked with are going, you know what, Justin, you need to work on your male followers?
No, but you're the one saying that about, my point is this, Natalie. This is my point about this.
I don't think that I'm Justin Bieber. I don't think that I'm a
I know you
female
don't.
rock
No, but I understand that.
But I'm saying that
if you're
men are held to a different standard than women. People are constantly going, oh, Natalie, you're just hot, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, but isn't, okay, so what? Mm-hmm. So what? Like, you had an attribute that got people in the door and then worked really hard in your craft. And like some people never came around to think you were anything more than just hot. And other people saw you and were like, no, like this chick's got chops. Like when Amy Schumer first came, wasn't she just like this kind of cute blonde girl? And it was something like, oh yeah, she's cute. Like that helped her along. She's like a fucking legitimate, awesome comedian. Whether you like her or you don't, it doesn't matter. But I think Amy's incredibly skilled and talented. There's a lot of people. It's like, here, Brad Pitt. Brad Pitt is a fucking phenomenal actor, right? It's like, you don't think that face helped him out a little bit? It's like, who gives a shit?
Usama said to me once, he said, I got booked on show. At first, I got booked on shows just because I was like the ethnic thing. Then people kept booking me because I'm funny.
Right.
You get your spot because of this, and then you prove yourself, and people keep booking you. That's just what fucking happens.
Dude, listen. When you're doing acting, it's like, what's the? They don't sit there. They look at your headshot. They're like, does this person look like the part? Then they see if you have the chops for it. You know what I mean? Like, think about some of the people.
There's so many people, so many hot comedians, so many hot women that don't have anything because they're not funny enough to match it.
Right. So I think if anything, like there's probably,
or they don't have the work ethic to match it.
Listen, here's the good news in your question, right? There's probably, and there has to be, because you're a human being and I know you, because everybody would have this. If there's an element of insecurity about that, that's if there's
insecure.
If there's an element of insecurity that the people just put me on because they think I'm attractive. Is that the case? And that fires you up to be like, no, I want to be taken seriously as a comic, and that's what I care about. You fucking thank God you have that.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, you're some stupid bimbo dancing around with like a fucking tits out, being like, who doesn't have the self-awareness or the accurate self-appraisal necessary to succeed and get better at something. You don't think I know? Listen, I post like fitness stuff, my shirt's off all the time. Honestly, because I just rarely wear one. That's the truth, right?
It's too damn hot in these streets.
But there's just like, there's dudes like, oh, this fucking, like, you know how many people think like Justin's like this fucking frat boy jerk off? And I'm like, I'm so not like that.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, who gives like, but it's like, you know, if you looked at like comedy, whether you like me or you don't, like that's something I know that I'm good at doing.
I know that
skills
yeah.
Right. So that, but it's sort of like, there's plenty of people, like, how about the people who are like, you're not one of those people who are like, you know, there's like, there's people who just like Instagram models who they're like, now I'm gonna like start doing, I'm gonna start doing comedy, and they're like, they think they could like, go ahead and do that, and they genuinely think that people are like buying their shit, like, when really it's like people are just looking at their tits.
Totally.
You understand what I'm saying? There's people who are delusional like that.
No,
you know what I mean, like you're not one of those people, and the fact that like you have like that you have an eye on that and you're kind of cautious about it is like, that's the thing that's gonna make people take you seriously as you progress and get better and work on this craft, which takes a long time.
I mean, I've definitely
like couldn't you double down on, you know, body shots on that thing and double that fucking social media account in a few months if you wanted to? Of course you could. Right. So it's like so it's like, I think, you know, I don't think it matters. I don't think it matters like what gets people in the door. If like,
do you know how rich I would be if I started a fucking OnlyFans? Like, do you know how motherfucking rich I would be?
Yeah, but then
then I would like ruin everything.
Yeah, people have to make decisions about. Like,
so I'm not ever going to do that. No disrespect to anyone that has an OnlyFans, but I have a career in mind, and like I did one nude shoot. It was a big fucking mistake.
Sure, and that's probably, you know, that's not a big deal. People are allowed to do things that make mistakes and then learn from them and grow from them, and that's the shit that actually makes things funny. Like at a certain point, you'll have a great joke about that.
Well, I don't even know if I told this.
Like, this is a great premise.
Yeah.
You know, like this, you know, if you made this funny, this would be a great premise. Like, why do I have this and this? And then you're like insecurities about it. And then like, you know, you'll find like in time, the I don't want to say tragedy about this because it's not a tragedy, but the sort of the insecurity and worry about this is the neurosis about this will become funny.
I mean, like, I know that I'm fucking funny, and I know that I am an insanely hard worker. It's just kind of, it's frustrating because there are tons of beautiful female comedians that...
Tons? Handfuls, maybe?
Some.
Tons?
There's pretty people, but they don't work hard and they're not funny.
That's what I'm saying. Like, the fact that you give a shit about that is like, you know, it's sort of insight into like who and how you are and what you give a shit about.
And I also hate everyone. But I also love them at the same time.
That was the thing. That's what I was talking about earlier, by the way. The
Being
tangent
nice.
Again. No, I realized how like my dis-ease with like personal stuff and like how frustrating New York like has turned me into like a bit of a fucking curmudgeon asshole, and then I act out on it, and then I feel so fucking guilty afterwards.
Same.
I feel like that guy when we were pulling into the parking lot, the nice guy. We were pulling in your car.
Yeah.
And there was a guy in this big Jeep truck behind us.
Yeah.
We went to the first lot, which he he was in there first, and then we went behind him, and the first lot was full. So we backed out, then he backed out, so he was behind us when we went into the second lot. I think I'm doing a good job. So we got the first spot, and then the guy goes, and then the nice parking attendant guy goes, sorry, man, no space, it's all full.
But they said because his car was too big.
And he goes, why do you fucking people suck?
To us?
No, he said it to the parking guy.
Am I not? Okay, yeah.
And then the guy goes, come on, man. And the guy said, he goes, I was just telling you nice. Like, your car, you don't have to talk like that to me. And then he did the thing where he makes it like, he's like, oh, man. He's like, why? He's probably like, where he played it off like he wasn't firing, like he wasn't taking his issue out with that guy, his frustration out. And I was just like, and I watched that interaction. And when the guy just was like, threw his hands up and tried to like let himself off the hook by being like, I'm just, God, it's parking here in New York, right? And it's like, no, you were a dick. Like, you're frustrated and you were a dick. And I was like, shit, I do that all the fucking time.
People always like...
I do it all the time, and I feel so bad about it. And I put a note. I swear to God, this is so fucking cheesy.
What's the note in your phone?
Be nice to people so you don't feel like shit tonight. That's what it says in my phone. Because it's like, I'm like, fuck, why'd I have to like snap at that person? Like,
Well, Justin, you're an empath, I feel, and when you're in New York and you're around so much aggression all the time, you take it on. And I feel that if you weren't around that all the time, you wouldn't absorb it. It's a lot of anxiety, a lot of stress, so you do have to make a conscious mental effort around it because I'm just driving down the street, I'm getting honked at, yelled at, someone's banging on my car. I mean, it's a lot to take in.
This is not a good environment for me.
No.
It's never been. New York, what are you looking at time? We gotta go?
Yeah. We need to pull a tarot card.
We need to pull his hair out.
Listen,
Wait, can I just end on one?
Yes,
can I say the one thing about the thing?
Say the
Listen
one
to
thing.
me. This is an important thing.
Okay.
I think, right? If you're like, hey, I post pictures of myself on my Harley with my tattoos in my bikini, right? Mm-hmm. And I also work hard on my comedy career and I'm funny and I post this too. Both those things are fine and good for you to do if you're cool with it.
I am cool with it.
Good. And then it doesn't matter the where and the when of what audience takes that in or doesn't take that in. Because at the end of the day, what's going to happen? What we talked about in the beginning, someone's going to be like, leave some fucking shitty comment. She's only funny because it's like, so what? Who gives a fuck about them? There's plenty of people who are like so down to shit on me before they even listen to what I have. Like, I know they didn't watch or listen to what I'm doing. They're just there to shit on me. I'm like, that's fine.
Have fun.
It does not matter. So I think you should not worry about that.
I have the painting in my room that says, love your haters. They're your biggest fans.
Boy, are they the most consistent.
Listen,
tarot cards.
I brought my Ravenswand Oracle deck. I thought you'd like it because it has lots of hot, pretty girls in it.
That's cool.
And then I brought my tattoo tarot. You can pick.
Ooh, I'm going to go with the tattoo tarot.
Okay.
I'll look at the pretty ones on the card, but I do. Oh, shit. It's like Flash.
Yeah.
It's like tattoo Flash.
Yeah. All right. We got to do this quickly, I guess.
We can do it quickly. When did you get into astrology?
Well, Justin.
Is this astrology? Is tarot astrology?
Kind of.
It's voodoo.
Yeah. We're really getting into the witch stuff lately.
I do want to talk about that documentary I saw, What is a Woman, because I found it so fascinating and interesting. And I feel like the thing I found the most fascinating and interesting is how divided there's like these two opposing sides. And like you can't even have one cannot have a discussion with the other, which is what I found the most fascinating.
You must
I'm like,
DM Justin about it.
Yeah, it's like I just found it fascinating.
All right, Justin.
What am I doing?
You got to pick a card.
Anyone?
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to pick this one because it's all fucked up and so am I.
What is it?
Is that a three of? Oh, Three of Swords.
Three of Swords.
What's this mean?
Let's see.
Looks badass.
Show it to the camera. Oh.
Zoom in on that.
Oh, it's not good.
Oh, shit.
It's not good at all.
Fuck.
All right. Disruptive forces. Incompatibility.
What?
Heartache. Distance. Absence. Alienation. Unrest. Confusion. Delay. Loss of bearings. Loss of moral compass. Resolving a moral dilemma. Victory through right action. The healing power of pure intentions.
Ooh.
No pain, no gain.
Okay, so
is that what we talked about?
Yeah, you're led astray. Things are a little fucked up. You got to seek the higher ground and the higher wisdom to get to the higher place, right?
Victory through right action, the healing power of pure intentions, no pain, no gain.
There we go. Okay. So
that.
work hard, be honest, be clear about what you want, have pure intentions. All right.
That's fair.
Okay. That's all we wanted to do with me. With
I like to see if it summed up what we talked about in the episode.
You can. That's the thing with astrology in a way. Is like if you read me anybody's horoscope today and told me it was
What's
mine.
your sign?
Leo. But if you read me any...
You are such a Leo.
See? But if I said Taurus, you would say, you're such a Taurus.
You're not well, Taurus is also kind
I'm just not an introvert.
Well, you're not like a Taurus because we wouldn't really get along. I don't really get along with Tauruses, but no offense if you're listening. But, I would like you. It's just we wouldn't probably, click. It's just... Okay.
Here she goes with the noises. All right, you want to do plugs? What do you got?
Plugs. I left them all at my ex's house. Just kidding. Okay. That was disgusting. Justin, what do I have? I'm doing a charity stream on my Twitch.
A charity stream?
I'm doing a charity stream for St. Jude Children's Hospital.
Oh, that's cool.
We've already raised $1,300, which is awesome.
Very cool.
It's on June 26th, 12 p.m. Eastern, twitch.tv/Natalie Cuomo. So come hang out with me. We're going to play some video games, chat, raise some money for charity. So let's do that. And also got some great shows coming up. I will be in Cape Girardeau doing a weekend at the end of June, and I'll be in Toronto in the beginning of July. Also, come check out my show with Justin at The Stand, Anxiety Attack, 8 p.m., July 7th.
Cool. Yes. As for me, I will be at the Funny Bone in Albany right after our show that's Thursday 7th, the 8th, and the 9th. And then I've got road dates in Connecticut. Just go to I am Justin Silver on social media platforms and IamJustinSilver.com. You can find road dates and things like that. What else do I have? I think that's it for now. Yeah, that's it. All right, y'all. Until next week.
Bye.
Peace.